Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hai. What a special occasion for me to be here today to share with you about the topic Day of the Dead. Okay, so now let's start.
Was the atmosphere sad or happy?
No, the atmosphere was like a party.
The atmosphere was happy. The atmosphere was like a party. What was like a party?
The atmosphere was like a party.
The atmosphere in the cemetery was like a party. Where was the atmosphere like a party?
In the cemetery. The atmosphere was like a party in the cemetery.
In the cemetery, right? The cemetery. The atmosphere was like a party in the cemetery. Was the atmosphere like a party at my house?
No, the atmosphere was like a party in the cemetery.
No, not at my house. The atmosphere was like a party in the cemetery. The atmosphere was not like a party in my house. So the atmosphere was like a party. There were people everywhere. Families were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors.
Oh,
Where were the families sitting?
around the graves. Families were around the graves.
Around the graves, right? They were sitting around the graves. Who was sitting around the graves?
The family was sitting around the graves.
The families, right? The families were sitting around the graves. Were they sitting around the trees?
No, families were sitting around the graves.
No, they weren't sitting around the trees. They were sitting around the graves. So, where were they sitting?
Around the graves.
Around the graves. Families were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Were they sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors?
Yes, family were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestor.
Yes, they were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Were they sitting around the graves of their friends?
No, they are sitting around the graves of their dead ancestor.
No, not really. They were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Who was sitting around the graves?
Families were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestor.
That's right. Families were sitting around the graves. Whose graves were they sitting around? Whose graves were they sitting around?
The family.
Yes, their dead ancestors. Their ancestors.
Ancestor.
Their ancestors' graves. They were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. Were they sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors?
Yes. Family was the graves of the dead ancestor.
Or the graves of their friends? Ancestors, right? They were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. They cleaned the graves and added fresh flowers.
Oh,
Who cleaned the graves? That's right, the
family. They clean the graves and add fresh flower.
families. What did they add?
They add fresh flower.
They added fresh flowers. Did they add food?
No. They add fresh flowers.
No, they didn't add food. Did they add money?
No. They add fresh flower.
No, they didn't add money. They added fresh flowers.
Okay, that's all about my sharing. Thank you so much for the attention. Goodbye.